There's a story of a woman warming up before her morning jog, and she stood a few feet from a large oak tree, placed both hands on it, and pushed against it to stretch her calf muscles. She was in the midst of this standard runner's ritual when a young man passed by. He stopped, turned, and shook his head. "Lady, you'll be there forever doing it that way," he said. "Use a saw." So the point of that story is, how many of us feel that sometimes the same way, sometimes about solving our challenges or manifesting our dreams, pushing and pushing and pushing, and nothing is happening. So, what are we to do? Well, is it really up to me? Yes and no. Both of those are correct. So let's be clear, there is something for us to do, and there's several things for us to do, and there are things for us not to do. Okay, which is which? So we're going to talk about that today. Now, for you lovers of control, there's one thing that is not ours to do and over which we have absolutely no control. And the one thing that is not ours to do, over which we have absolutely no control, is the outcome. So what do we have control over? Daniel Nahmod, one of his latest songs from the CD Water, has verse that goes like about planting seeds. I've been planting seeds on the ground, watering them with my sweat and tears, scattering them all around. Guess it's what I'm supposed to do with my years. Funny thing is, I may know what I've planted, but never what will show. It always seems to be a perfect mystery. Sometimes I still like to pretend I know what the harvest will be, but I always find out in the end it was really not up to me. Funny thing is, when I just do my work and simply trust. So there's some things in order to get to the point of where we want to be, or think we want to be. There's some things for us to do, and there's some things for us to let go of. That's why I asked Andre to sing this, lead us in the song of I let go and I release. Okay, what is it? What are things for us to do? This one is to decide what it is we want. What is it that you want? What seed do you want to plant? See, if you have a garden and you've put rich soil in it and you've gotten it all prepared, but you don't put any seeds in the garden, you're not going to get anything from that soil. The soil's ready. The soil is there. The energy of the universe is there. So it's first thing we need to do is decide what it is we desire and then plant the seed. Okay. Listen to our inner nudging. Now, sometimes our inner nudging can come from divine discontent. We're not content with wherever we are now or whatever it is. So sometimes, and then sometimes it's in the form of divine urges. We just feel this urge we want to be more, do more, have more. There's just more there. Sometimes that's how we feel. But the first thing you want to do is decide which seed you want to plant. And then the second step is to plant the seed. So it's completely up to us. See, the soil, the energy of the universe, the universal mind, doesn't care whether we plant the seed or not. It's up to us to decide what seed we want to plant, and then to plant it. It's like people waiting for their ship to come in and they haven't sent one out. It's the same thing. So we need to plant the intention. Wayne Dyer has a wonderful book about planting the intention. You see, the universe is waiting for us to make up our mind. The universe is saying, okay, what do you want? What is it? I'm here for you. I conspire to support you. And we sit there and say, gee, I don't know. I don't know what I want. So the first thing you've got to do is to be clear about what you want. Then plant the seed. Okay, well, you say plant the seed. What does that mean? How do I go about it? Do I have to have a real garden or plant into a garden patch? When we say plant the seed, what we mean is keep it in our mind. Focus on what it is you desire. Pull up all the weeds, all those fears and doubts all the reasons why you can't have what you desire. Anybody ever do that? You decide you want something and you say, oh my gosh, it's too expensive, I'm too young, I'm too old, this and that and the other, the economy's bad, the job market's off. We think of all these things. Well, I call them weeds. And we need to pull up those weeds because they're choking the seed that we planted in the garden, the seed of our intention. So those two things are our desire, are our job to do, and then we need to water and nurture the seeds. And how do we do that? We do it by mentally putting ourselves in the situation. In other words, let's say you desire a new home. I'm just thinking out loud here. You desire a new home. Well, first you decide you want a new home, and you may add to it you want one comfortable, full of light, that you can easily afford, in a good neighborhood, all of those kinds of things. You don't say 13 Maple Street, but you just give an atmosphere of the home that you want. And then you start seeing yourself in the home. You actually see yourself in the home. How would you feel in this new home? Well, if it's one that you like, you're going to be comfortable. You're going to feel energized. You're going to have a lot of good feelings, but you want to see yourself in that home and feel what it feels like to be in that home, whatever the situation is. Okay, you mentally put yourself in what we call a manifestation. Manifestation is when what it is you planted the seed for appears. Okay? So, we decide what to plant. We plant the seed. We nurture the seed. We keep the garden weeded, no doubts, no fears, and all of that. Now, I'm going to read you a passage from Dr. Ernest Holmes in his book, This Thing Called You. This is what he says. Now, just as you watch your garden, that foreign seed shall not fall into it, producing a growth of undesirable plants, so you must refuse entrance to any thoughts you do not wish to see manifested in your life. Keep out any, you see, the soil, the universal energy is going to grow anything that you put in it. So if you put in your fears and doubts, it's going to grow those. It doesn't care what you put in it, what seeds you put in it. Okay. Guard well this garden of your mind. It is God's garden of your soul. It is your garden of Eden, wherein you may grow your fondest desires and hopes, blossoming into fulfillment, or, if you permit, the weeds of destruction. Fear and doubt will choke out the beauty of hope until despair alone remains. Watch carefully then this garden of your soul. Plant there only seeds of happiness, of joy, of peace, of goodwill. It may be necessary to cultivate your garden, to uproot the weeds and straighten out the rows, planting new seeds, new ideas, broader visions, and deeper realization of life. New aspirations must be bedded here, fertilized with hope, the conviction of faith, the beauty of wholeness, and the quietness of peace. Watch our garden carefully, guard it patiently, waiting for a new harvest, for you shall reap what you have sown. I love the analogy of the garden. It is so cool. And it's so true. And, you know, it's simple, and yet we still get sidetracked. Anybody here ever get sidetracked from what you desire? Yeah. Okay, well, this is the formula. It's all in your mind. I saw something, I think it was on Facebook, it was like, you don't have to think out of the box. You need to realize there is no box. You saw that too? Yeah. Yeah. You probably put it on there.
Yeah, I probably did.
Okay, but anyway, yeah, there's no box. The sky's not the limit. Your mind is the limit. It's your mind. And so, you shall reap what you've sown, but that part is the part that is not up to us. What actually grows is not up to us. Now, we'll talk about what that means. Letting go of the outcome is important. There was one of my teachers had a formula for how to manifest. The first thing to do is to show up. Be present with who you are. The second thing is to speak your truth. Be honest. Say what you really feel. And let go of outcome. let go of outcome. Also, in our teaching, we say not to outline, which means you don't tell the universe how something's going to come to you. You see, if you want a new car, you may start thinking, well, I'm going to need this much money. I'll probably need a new job because I'm not getting this much money now. One of my friends, this is a true story, she was riding down in a car with a group of us and going to a meeting, and they were going to raffle a car at this meeting. And she said, I'm going to win that car. And we all sort of looked at her, sure, yeah, right. She did. She bought her ticket. They called the number. She had the winning number. She went up and got the car. She was already making plans on the way down as to who was going to ride with her to bring the car back. That's keeping your mind centered on whatever it is you want. You see yourself in it. You declare it. You make that declaration, and then you don't put your fears and doubts in it. And it was really something when she stood up waving that ticket, and all of our mouths just sort of dropped, but she went up and claimed the car. True story. So that's what we need to do. That's the belief that we need to have, you see, in order to put things into action, to put the universe. That's when the universe says, I think Nancy's really serious about this. Let's see what I can do to bring it about. Because I'm here to conspire and support her. That's what the universe is here for. That's its job, to support each one of us. And yet sometimes we feel so alone. There's no use. Every time I've tried something, it hasn't worked. And we keep in that frame of mind. And that frame of mind doesn't get you anywhere, except what you don't want. So that's important too. A couple of things happened to me today, this week. Well, today also, but this week. I was writing down in my gratitude journal, which I keep in the morning, and sometimes I write things that I'm grateful for, things that I want to appear in my life. So this particular day I had written, I'm grateful for increased money. Well, later in the day, I went to the post office box, and there was a check from Toyota, some class action suit I knew nothing about. It was $21.90. And I thought, there it is. There's my income. It just, and it happened the same day. I had no idea this class action suit was even going on. And there was my check. So I'm going to increase it next time. But anyway, that's how the universe works, you see. When we plan our intention, creative intelligence takes over. And I love that term because it's so creative and intelligent and knows much more than I do. I had no idea this class action suit was even going on. But somehow they had my address and my name, and I do own a Toyota. So there it was. See, we don't have to know how something's going to come to us. We just need to plant the seed. And then release. We'll have discussion afterwards. Yeah, just keep it in mind. Okay, so that was one example. Another example of something that I did, I wrote down things that I wanted to come into my life, and one of them was to be invited to be interviewed by Beverly Milando, who has a Unity radio station. And so I had written down her name and some other names, and then, didn't think too much about it. I just knew it was something that I wanted to do. Well, on the minister's listserv, we take turns posting spiritual mind treatments, and mine is the 8th of the month. So on the 8th of October, I posted one of my affirmative prayers, and it was, I say yes to the universe, or something of that sort. Forgotten now. It's in my book. She read that, immediately responded, and said, this would fit perfectly with my radio show. Would you be willing for me to post this prayer on my website? And would you be willing to be interviewed? Now, I have 80 affirmative prayers in that book. I just chose the one that I felt was the right one for me that day and posted it. Well, what I didn't know is the name of her radio show is, I Say Yes to the Universe, or Affirming Yes, or something. But this prayer that I posted fit right in with her radio program, and I had no idea that it did. Creative intelligence. Our job is simply to plant the seed. And as Andre so beautifully sang, let it go, release, that's part of it. If we hang on to things, we don't have an open hand. We'll put it that way, that's very simple. If we're still hanging on to the old stuff, we don't have an open hand by which to receive the new stuff. That's a simple way of putting it, I guess. So, show up, speak your truth, plant your seed, and don't be attached to outcome. You see, just like the woman who won the car, she won the new car, but she didn't have to get a new job. She didn't have to save up the money. She just decided she wanted the car. Of course, there was a car at the raffle, but there are lots of cars in the universe. There are lots of cars in the universe, so we need to open our minds to all kinds of possibilities and not limit ourselves to one possibility, And sometimes we do that by, I desire this, and if I desire this, then that means I must do A, B, C to get up to it. No, you don't. All you have to do is plant the seed. And the check from Toyota comes. Or you win a car at the raffle. Other things happen. You get asked to be interviewed on the radio show because I had written down that was one of the things. I had no idea this was going to happen the way it did. The universe is so intelligent when we let go of our ways of doing things. When we release the seed into soil. Okay. Here's a little poem that has to do with this. It's written by Loretta Burns. As children bring their broken toys with tears for us to mend, I brought my broken dreams because God was my friend, or the universe was my friend. But then instead of leaving in peace, leaving him in peace to work alone, I hung around trying to help with ways that were my own. At last, I snatched them back and cried, "How can you be so slow?" Talking to Spirit or the universe. Where is this thing that I planted? Why are you so slow? My child, the universe said. What could I do? You never did let go. Release is a step in our prayer work. Release it with the faith that creative intelligence is now working on it and it appears at the right time. Okay. So it's up to us to let go once we've planted the seed. Now, you've got to decide what it is you want and plant the seed. But then after that, you need to let go. And this is what John Waterhouse says in his book, 5 Steps of Treatment. We call affirmative prayer treatment sometimes. So when you release your affirmative prayer, you're releasing the creative process into full expression. All of Spirit is now available to provide unlimited combinations of events, participants, circumstances, and possibilities that will work in divine order to manifest whatever you have claimed in truth. Most of this potential exists beyond our ability to imagine. See, we're limited sometimes in our scope, thinking things have to come in a certain way, and they don't. So we need to unlimit this. And one way is when we plan our intention, then we release it to the universe. We turn it over to creative expression and creative intelligence. And all kinds of possibilities are there. Another example from my own life that just came to my mind was at one point I moved to California. I decided to go into a PhD program in California. So I applied and so forth, and I went there, left my car with my sister, so went there without a designated place to stay and so forth, but I was affirming that everything would work out beautifully. I wanted a place near the school because I had left my car. Anyway, this is what happened. I went out there. I stayed in a temporary place there at the school for the first couple of nights. I walked into my first class, announced that I just uprooted myself from Florida to California, and I would like a convenient place to live. The woman sitting next to me said, "Well, just this morning, a woman in my condo complex stopped me on my way out and said she had a room to rent and was looking for a roommate." Hello? That's how it works, folks. Creative intelligence. I went to see it. I lived there for over a year until I found something else. But I had made my intention And I acted on it. That's another thing. I acted on it. I didn't not move because this was not in my sight. By acting on it, the universe said, I think Nancy's really serious about this. Let me see what I can come up with. Or some term of that, okay? So it's important to plant the seed, then it's important to keep the weeds out, then it's important to release it and be open to all different kinds of ways that it may come to you. All different kinds of ways. So, but not be attached to outcome as to how it's going to come to you. Okay, so I would like to go into a little visualization, and then we'll open up to discussion and go on with our program. I'd like for this, you close your eyes if you'd like to. You don't have to. It's the first thing, see yourself as you are today with whatever's going on for you now. Just see yourself in the situation that you're in now, whatever's going on for you. If there's a challenge in your life, see it. Just don't get emotionally involved. Just see it. If there's a goal you're working on, but it's not quite here yet, and you're wondering where it is, see it. Get a good picture in your mind of that, and when you do, you get a good picture of whatever it is you desire. I'm going to ask you to place your non-dominant hand over your heart. Your non-dominant hand. Just place it over your heart. Okay, and let that be a symbolic gesture of love and acceptance. So I want you to simply love and accept yourself right now where you are. In this moment, just love and accept yourself, no judgment. Take a couple of deep breaths and just love and accept yourself. Now, keeping this hand over your heart and continuing to love and accept yourself right where you are, at the same time, see yourself in the future. Okay? And see yourself in the future. With this challenge or issue completely addressed, and you're happy and joyful. With the dream fully manifested, and you're now excited about a bigger one. You are the you came here to be. Get a picture of the you that has a great deal of wisdom and knowledge, perhaps more than you have today. When you really see yourself as that person, use your dominant hand to represent that you and place it on top of the other. Place your dominant hand on top of your non-dominant hand. Have your current self, now this is a little dialogue you're going to do privately within yourself. Have your current self ask any question you want to your future self. Have your current self ask any question you want of your future self. Now, our final step Bringing your hands together, still at your heart. Lace your fingers together. Lace your fingers together. In this lacing together, consciously integrate the two. Recognizing that you already are that which you desire to be. So you're merging the present you and the future you. Okay? Feel empowered, feel uplifted, feel inspired, feel energized, feel the joy. And when you do, separate your hands and raise your arms and your chin up nice and high. Hold them there in celebration and acceptance. And if you really want to empower this moment, stand up. Stand up and empower yourself in this moment. You may sit down. So let's note together right now, in this magical moment, that you are who you desire to be, that whatever it is you desire in life is now yours. And so you release it to the universe and allow it to be, and say with me, and so it is.
So it is.